r/askreddit. What makes you feel embarrassed by your own country? The thing that didn't happen at that square in that year on that day. That or the censorship that makes you write it this way. He is already dead. Just like what's not going to happen in Khan? Algeria. Mafia is leading our country. Bulgaria checking in. We even have a saying about it. Other countries have a mafia. Here the mafia has a country. Lol. Serbia clocking in. Same situation. To be fair, mafia, government and industry are heavily intertwined in about 80% of the world's nations. There's so many lol. I'll go with the latest. Last week a solidarity fridge was placed in a street in Salvador, 4th biggest city in Brazil. This is a project where they leave a fridge where people can donate food and the homeless can take it. It was stolen less than 24 hours after being placed. Sounds like something that would happen in Argentina too. The politicians and how people treat monuments like shit. Also the school system. Italy. Our monuments have spit marks all across them, and I don't want to talk about politics. India. In the US, the mass shootings. It's beyond awful and shouldn't happen here. Obviously it shouldn't happen anywhere. It's surreal to see 2 events in one day. Came here to say this. 2 in less than a day. Always makes me think of that Onion article with the headline, "Politicians say nothing can be done in only country here this happens." The Dutch government paid Microsoft 10 mil to keep supporting Windows XP. Because most of their computers ran on it. Edit. Thanks for all the upvotes guys. I've never gotten so many upvotes. We did what now? When I saw news articles about a mass shooting, I initially skipped over them because I thought they were talking about yesterday. They weren't. Are you in the USA? Because I read about a mass shooting that happened today or yesterday and breezed over it because I thought it was from last week. Northern Ireland. The sectarian conflict, the rampant illicit drug use, the fact that we haven't had a functional government for over 600 days now over a disagreement on a pointless law. 930 days. And we're left in a position of almost hoping that it continues through to the 21st of October. Saudi Arabia. Where do I start? I can drive now, so there's progress. Be careful what you write on the internet. And if you hide, don't go to the Saudi embassy in Turkey. We don't always win in hockey. We used to. Our teams ruled the world for decades. Sobs into cup of ring beer. That yesterday's mass shooting coverage was interrupted by coverage of today's mass shooting. People here love to show off by saying Nikola Tesla is ours. Our blood, our intelligence, and so on. Meanwhile the Tesla Museum in our capital is a joke. It's basically 2 rooms, and in high school when we visited it our class literally had to be split in 2 parties because we couldn't all fit in it. Mind you, it is getting slightly better now, but only because of the tourists. At the end of the tour, when they turn on the Tesla coil for 5 seconds and say look at the genius, then tell you to leave. Every country has skeletons, frequently literally, in its closet. The world ought to be united in utter embarrassment at the way we have conducted ourselves at different times. This is coming out less uplifting than I meant it to. Scottish people can be really aggressive and rude. Especially in the more populated areas, and especially with what we call Spice Boys. It's like, a group of guys were making fun of me for moving past them and says sorry. Scottish girls can be as rude too. People always think it's just the English, but no, Scotland is full of really rude people. Brothers and sisters are natural enemies. Like Englishmen and Scots. Or Welshmen and Scots. Or Japanese and Scots. Or Scots and other Scots. Damn Scots. They ruined Scotland. Am I the only one who imagines that Spice Boys are just a bunch of Scottish people who try to aggressively tell people what they really want? Yeah. People outside of Britain tend to view the Scots as this group of disenfranchised noble people who the English fucked over. Nope, we can be a bunch of cunts too, just like everyone. The only country where you can get punched while on fire, Frankie Boyle. We had a very healthy and innovative aerospace industry, then just said fuck it. That we lost a war against emus. I mean seriously, we are a nation that produced the only force that had any impact at Gallipoli, the rats of Tobruk, and we captured 100,000 Italian troops in World War II. But some large flightless birds? Nope, didn't stand a chance. We were so desperate we asked the British for artillery. I think it's marvelous. Fist fighting kangaroos, giant spiders, and war with emus. Australia is like a real world sci-fi novel. The amount of people who harasses and asks for bobs and vegano pics online. P.S. No award to guess what country I am from. Whichever will it be. Yes, PLS. Death to America proceeds to send their children to America for a better life. Iran, ladies and gentlemen. Indian men online talking to women. The state of our roadsides and towns. For such a proud country, collectively we have a really funny way of showing it. I'm actually genuinely embarrassed when tourists have to see some of the filth, especially in cities like Glasgow. After the first sentence I instantly knew you were talking about Scotland. It's an absolute joke. Fly tippers everywhere in the countryside. You can pull up at the side of any rural road with a wall or ditch next to it and you can pretty much guarantee there will be loads of black bags, couches, old fridges and plenty of other shit. Even on main roads you see cunts just turfing shit out the window. There's no need for it. You've already loaded it into your car, why not just take it to the tip? It's a beautiful country ruined by the pricks who live here. If it makes you feel better, I, American, went to Scotland in 2005 for 2 weeks. The whole time I was there, I saw only one piece of litter. It was a Converse shoebox on a sidewalk in Edinburgh. I went home telling everyone how clean Scotland was. Also had exclusively positive interactions with the people. Everyone was very polite and helpful. The trip was 100% lovely, and I hope to be able to return someday. Have you heard about the Ibiza scandal? Yeah. Didn't some guy take a pill there? Westminster, Boris Johnson, UK politics is a joke. Nobody can take us seriously anymore because of this whole Brexit situation. Oxford PPE educated sheltered white MPs over 50 cackling over the future of Britain. Team USA here. We have top shelf medical talent and resources, yet going in for the simplest of medical treatment, never mind something huge, is a fucking logistical and financial nightmare. From every aspect, hidden costs, jump through hoops, bullshit insurance, out of network provider scams at in-network facilities, denied claims, and my personal favorite, even if you manage to successfully navigate the health insurance minefield, you still wind up getting raped financially. After that, the accountability of the medical professionals for errors and misdiagnosis are almost non-existent. Couple that with the pay to prescribe drug pushers in the white coats. Why, in 2019, we tolerate this corrupt system is beyond comprehension. Why, in 2019, we tolerate this corrupt system is beyond comprehension. Because rich people want to keep it that way and they've convinced 60% of the non-rich people to keep it that way too. Donald Trump. Edit. Thank you everyone for the upvotes. This is the first time I've got more than 7. A special thank you to the very kind person who gave gold. Damn, there's a lot of self-loathing Brits gathered here today. Nice. It's not the fact that we're poor, or an ex-communist country, or that our infrastructure is dying. No. It's the fact that we have so many uneducated and intolerant people. You will meet people put in their jobs because of nepotism. You will meet lots of incompetent people everywhere you go and don't expect them to be there. You will meet extremely homophobic people in many places where they shouldn't be, like schools, public institutions, etc. Not that there should be any of them anywhere. Even the highest positions in the country are occupied by these people. Not to say that everyone is like that, but a huge percentage of the population is. Believing only what the shitty TV shows are saying. All the media is pretty much the same. Opposing political ideas don't really exist. I'm talking about my beautiful country Romania. Don't forget police officers telling scared young girls who call 112 after being kidnapped to calm down and no, I can't stay on the phone with you, we have other calls. Or, the cherry on top, when that young girl sobs and says I'm scared, the idiot replies with who are you scared of, young lady? Yeah, come on. We colonized half the fucking world but bitch about illegal immigrants. It's okay when we do it, we're British yes. Our current foreign minister had a scandal back in 2008, where he, 34M at the time, had sex with a 15-year-old girl. It wasn't illegal cause the age of consent in Denmark is 15, but it's still messed up. Edit. His name is Jep Kofod. Edit 2. Spelling. 1. Mass genocide and suppression of the indigenous people. 2. Those who continue the cycle of suppression with disparaging comments and jokes about drunk, lazy Indians. Do us all a favor and crack a book. It's a small thing, but I dislike how many British people like showing how British they're online. Making memes about the weather, politics, drinking tea, queuing etc. All playing these things up for an American audience. It's no great crime, it just strikes me as cringeworthy. To add to this, every time I see a Blackadder or a Monty Python clip on YouTube, there's always the comments lauding classic British humor and claiming Americans just wouldn't get this. Mate, it's a man hitting another man with a fish. Get off your fucking high horse. I'm Canadian. A few years back I started writing for travel websites and I got a lot of my work through a British agent. My biggest customer was a British travel agency that did a lot of tours of historic sites. The owners were under the mistaken impression that I was actually British and constantly gave me great feedback about how authentic my articles were. TBF, I did a lot of research on British writing style, and my minors at uni were tourism, geography and history. But these clients just gushed over how strong our British identity came through with my writing. And everything about these clients was similarly full of little clues and phrases that came across as extremely British. Eventually I found out that these two ladies were from the American South, pretending to be British online, like me, in order to attract American customers to the tours they were selling. Obesity rates in the US. Edit. Look, I know about the dried up carrot that is the president. I personally have just been affected more by the obesity rates. How behind Germany is on internet and education. The following statement got edited to correct a false fact that I confused with the quality initiative you're about to read about. I even heard that there was a quality initiative of 500 million euros for education, and exactly €0 of that went into further education. Also, the spending of the budget already going into further education for teachers is going down each year. And how ridiculous some political positions are. For example, Annegret Kramp-Karrenbauer is the one responsible for the German army, although she has no experience in that field. Just makes me wonder if they roll dice up there to determine who is managing what. That last point is pretty universal, unfortunately. Political appointments of ministers or head civil servants are more often than not done for political reasons rather than practical ones. In the UK, the woman put in charge of the Department for International Development, Reed, Foreign Aid, was on record saying she wanted to abolish the department. Then she got sacked for going behind the government's back and negotiating privately with the Israeli government, which is really fucked up, only to be put in charge of the police and immigration by Boris Johnson last week. You couldn't make this shit up. TL. Dr. My country became an independent state for only 8 seconds. Long version. The president of my country declared the independence on the parliament during a speech. Just to dismiss it 8 seconds after on the same speech, he touted that would help on the negotiations between us and the country we tried to seek independence. Catalonia? The fact that we Filipinos litter the fuck out of this land, disobeying law, anti-smoking, etc., and the accidental bump of China in our territory. Your capitalization is getting out of hand too. Save some for the rest of us. We lost to Sweden at some point in ice hockey. Yep, it's Finland. 2 mass shootings in under 13 hours. The mass shootings, one of which legit just happened in my own damn town. We all know how this is gonna play out and all I can do is feel embarrassed. We haven't had a government in place since January 2017 because our 2 main parties won't speak to each other. Because of that, decisions regarding the daily running of the country aren't happening, so Westminster are making decisions for us, including some incredibly controversial ones. These decisions have resulted in me having a very heated debate with my in-laws on a Sunday afternoon.